Hello and welcome to the Knittery. I'm Katie, and today we have a lot of finished objects to be talking about. So it has been a little bit longer since the last time I posted, and I'm not super prescriptive on when I record and when I post or anything, and so I know it's been a little bit longer, and so we have more finished objects because of that, because I've still been knitting quite a bit, but sorry for the wait, and thanks for waiting, and thanks for coming back. Excited to be here today talking to you. To start, what I'm wearing today is the Twist Loop sweater by Other Loops. I knit this in Sunday by Sandnes Garn held double in the color Pine. I think it's a Petite knit colorway. I knit this last January for my birthday sweater, a tradition that I have, and have been super happy with it. I think it's a really elegant sweater. You can dress it up really nicely with a collared shirt, so I'll wear this one to the office a lot. I think that the twist loop top, which is the same motif, is a lot more popular than the sweater, but I don't know why, because I do think that the sweater is just as cute and elegant. And if I'm not mistaken, I haven't made the top and I don't have the pattern, but I think that's a fingering weight, and this is a DK, so it is a little bit different gauge there. But I love the decreasing detail here, and have been overall really happy with this object. And now that it's getting colder again here, I've been pulling this out again, which has been really fun as well. So lots of green here today. Awesome. Let's get into my finished objects. So the first finished object that I have was actually a finished object when I recorded last time, but my husband actually does all the editing for these videos, and it was a gift for him, and it had not been gifted yet. So I did not share about it as a work in progress, and I didn't share about it last time, but now it has been gifted, and so I can share about the Esther Sweater Man. I knit this in Berroco Ultra Alpaca, and I love it so much. Not only has he worn this a ton, I have previously made him the Moby sweater, and he wears that a good amount, but this I think has gotten far more wear. But I've also stolen it back and worn it a couple times, and it's just like a perfect, cozy, oversized, for me, kind of grampy sweater. I love the halo that the Berroco Ultra Alpaca has. You don't have to hold mohair in there or anything, but you still get a little bit of a halo. It's held up super well. It's also textured, so I don't know how much that's impacting it not pilling as well, but yeah. I made the Esther vest for myself last winter, and I hated it. I hated making this texture and was just not that into it. It was really sad because I knew that he really loved this pattern, and I also really like the Esther jacket, and I was like, well, I'm probably just never going to make those. But I decided that I was going to try and do it, and it actually wasn't that bad. I don't know if I just was not in the headspace to be making it when I made it the first time, or if it was just so much more familiar this time that I really didn't mind making it. But he went on a bike trip with his friends in July for a week, and I started it and knit to the yoke. I knit the yoke down to the body while he was gone, and then in September he was in Europe 2 weeks for work, and I finished it. So it was great because the last time I knit him a sweater, I just knit it in front of him, and at first I was just saying it was for myself, and then I was finally like, yeah, this is actually for you. But this time it was a complete surprise. He didn't see me knit it at all, which was super fun. And so that's why I didn't share about it on the pod, but really actually enjoyed making it. Like, it was a huge shock that I didn't mind making this. And also I just think that the Esther is just such a pretty texture. And so who knows, maybe I'll end up making a third Esther thing. Probably not, but you never know. So super happy with that. I'll throw a picture in of him wearing it. Next, I have my September sweater, and this I feel like I finished right after I recorded last time too. So I even was like, did I talk about that as a finished object last time? I couldn't remember if I'd already talked about this as a finished object, but I did not. And so this is a petite knit pattern, and I knit this in double Sunday held with tin silk mohair, both by Sandnes Garn. And I just love the brioche. I love the finished object. I did not do tin silk mohair. I did the Tilia mohair by Filcolana, and It is one of the softest combinations ever. I am absolutely in love with it. I have worn this one a good amount as well. I feel like it's just a staple in that cream color. I do fear today is one of those days. This is a video where I will get comments, where's the color? And I do knit in color, but I also am going to knit what I'm going to wear. And sometimes I want just a basic tan sweater, and I'm going to knit that too. So anyways, sorry if this is not enough color in this episode for you. But I do feel like I get more wear out of my neutrals. And so it doesn't mean that I exclusively knit them, but I do them a bit more. All in all, I don't feel like I have anything to say about this pattern more than I said with it as a work in progress, because I was decently far along. I didn't make any modifications except for I do think I went down a size in needle in the neck. It is a very small neck, and so it fits really close, which I really prefer. So I really like that, but it is not one that I would recommend like going down in stitches on. I go down in stitches a lot on my necklines because I feel like they stretch out. This is a pattern I don't feel like you need to do that. I also was really worried about where I picked up for the sleeve, and it blocked out fine. I feel like it looks fine, but I did not feel like it looked good. And someone made a comment about it blocking out, or like that they had this issue too. But I actually feel like, you see the line that it switches to the sleeve, but it doesn't look bad or messy, I don't think. Maybe it could be a little bit neater, but I think all in all, it's good. Super happy with this. Been wearing it a lot. And love the yarn combination. I'll probably do this combination again sometime in the future. Double Sunday I would not say is one of my favorite yarns. I prefer knitting for all of heavy merino. So actually, I would be really curious in trying the heavy merino with this mohair as a combination, because I prefer that yarn. But this color, at least, of the Double Sunday, sometimes I feel like it feels a little like plasticky or like sticky, and this color I really didn't have that issue with. So maybe it's just like the colors that I feel that way, if they're like super dyed. So there's my September sweater. All right, I then last time shared I was making the Lakes V-neck pullover by Ozetta. And I had a whole existential crisis on the podcast about my rowing out. And ultimately the comments made me take it out, which is fine. It was definitely the right choice. I probably wouldn't have been happy with the finished object had I not frogged it. So that is completely frogged, and I have not picked it back up again. And the comment that like really put me over the edge, not like in a bad way. This wasn't a bad comment, but they mentioned that they could see the rowing out in my stripe hype sweater that I was wearing. And actually, that sweater was the last sweater I made where I didn't go down a needle size in my purl rows. And so I have been combating this by, if I'm knitting a 4mm sweater on the purl sides when I'm knitting flat, I have been going down to a 3.5. And that sweater, when I made it after that, I was like, I need to fix this. And I started doing that after that. So I had already actually corrected myself since making that, but I could just see it so much on the Lakes. And again, I was going down a needle size. So I just decided to take it out, and I started this cardigan, and I had full intentions of talking about this as a work in progress, and then I just never recorded, so I didn't. And I literally just finished this, so I'll tell you what it is. This is the Hani cardigan by Knitters and Friends. And I also knit this in Berroco Ultra Alpaca. I made that one. It's funny because I've never used this yarn before. And then that one I made so long ago. So it sounds like I'm only using this yarn, and it's actually like, couldn't be further from the truth. Didn't even knit these two sweaters in the same month at all. Anyways, I really liked it in that, and I was like, I really would like a garment for myself in this, and so I ended up getting it for this. Both of these are the natural line, and so they're not dyed. They're both the natural. Anyway, I ended up for this trying out combination knitting. And so on the purl side, I wrapped the yarn around the wrong way, and It uses less yarn because you're not going all the way around the needle, you're kind of going under, but it twists the stitches. So on the way back, you have to knit through the back loop. And I wouldn't say I love doing this, but I do think it worked. And so in a cardigan, you can obviously like see rowing out and you can see gauge because the whole thing is knit flat. But then also you can compare it with the sleeve. Let me try and like be able to hold this up a little bit better so you can see them compared. And I feel like it is a pretty even, it's decently even between the sleeve and the body. It's maybe slightly tighter because it's a smaller circumference, but in general, I actually feel like it's actually pretty close, I would say. So I am working on a new project and I am doing combination knitting on that as well because I do think it works. And someone commented, because I said maybe I should try this, and someone commented and said just like be like ready. It is going to feel like you've never knit before, and so you're so used to knitting, and then you're doing this new style, and it's not going to feel natural. And that truly was how it felt. And it was nice to have like a big project to do it on, because then by the end it started to become more natural. But it definitely felt like it took a really long time, and especially as you're just like going back and forth on those purl rows for a cardigan. And actually it ended up being the knit rows that I found more annoying to relearn than the purls. But I did keep having to think, because as I was working on other projects that I wasn't doing this, like I did have to like think about which way I was doing the purls. But it was honestly easy once you got in it. I did intend to talk about this as a whip, as I said, and I kind of wish I had taken a photo, but I did feel like I had a little bit of, the stitches were like a little like twisted like this. Does this make sense? And it was kind of like, instead of it hanging where it should in the middle, it was hanging to the side like this. And I was like, I think this will block out, because the thing with rowing out is it's not going to block out because you have this whole row of them, and that's like where your yarn line is. But the loop, when you block or when you hang or anything, the weight is going to shift. And for anybody who followed the whole Hank Green thing in the knitting, a lot of people were really mad because he said it's a series of knitting, it's a series of knots, and it's not, it's a series of loops, interconnected loops. And this is actually like where you get the science of knitting and how it evens itself out. And sure enough, it did. And if it was a knot, it wouldn't have done that. So as I was knitting, like a few times I like kind of like stretched it out like this, and I was like, yeah, it kind of like evens itself out. And then when I blocked it, it completely came out. So that's a lot on combination knitting, but this pattern, loved. I love the 2x2 rib in all of the details. It is not too heavy of a gauge, which I really like for this cardigan, because I probably will wear it all winter, but I could use this in transition seasons too, because it's not super dense. It's on 4.5 millimeter needles. And so I find that really nice. And I know there's a couple people who have modified this pattern to copy one of the Baba sweaters. And so just if you're looking to copy one of those, you could totally do it. It's the one with the pockets on the front. And so people will just add pockets, and then they made a couple adjustments, especially to the sleeves, because it's a bracelet sleeve on the Baba one. So anyways, I have already worn this twice. I finished it this week, and I'm super happy with it. I got these buttons on Etsy and enjoy them. And so I really wanted another staple cardigan. I have my champagne cardigan in white that I knit a couple years ago, and it's one of my most worn garments. And so I wanted one that was an O-neck, not a V-neck, that was, again, a neutral, so that I could just really wear it all the time. So I'm very happy with my Hani cardigan. And I could actually see myself potentially making one of these again in a color. I do kind of like a statement cardigan, but all my cardigans are statements, I feel like, so that's why I needed a basic. Then this one, I can't believe that I never talked about as a whip. I just started it and went crazy on it and finished it. So that is the Sirena sweater by Cookie the Knitter. And I could not be more happy with this as a finished object. I've only worn this once so far because it hasn't been that cold, but there was one day where it was kind of the perfect weather for it and situation. And so I can't wait to wear it more in November and December and January when it's really cold. But it is such a mossy looking sweater. So I knit the Billy sweater last year by Nordland, and I kind of was like, oh my gosh, maybe I should knit another one of those and knit it in a bigger size and maybe in a green or something. And then I was like, there's actually so many beautiful cable knit patterns out there. I should find a different pattern and not just knit the same one again. And so I found this pattern and was like, okay, yeah, this is it. And I kind of, like the, when Harry Met Sally sweaters, like that was kind of the idea I was going for too, but I knit the Billy in white. So I was like, I'm going to do this one in green, and found the perfect mossy color. So this is knit in, Woolstock Worsted, held with Woolstock Light by Blue Sky Fibers. And, I actually knit the, Sophie shawl in this a couple years ago, and so have liked the color, and so that was kind of a nice test. But it is so chunky and oversized. The cables are so beautiful. I love them. I just think it's an amazing pattern and was so fun to make. I will say, if you are a first-time cable knitter, I think cables are more intimidating than they actually are. I think anybody can kind of knit a cable if you can knit and you can purl. And so in general, I'd be like, any pattern is fine. Like, go knit the Moby, like you'll be fine. But this one I would not recommend because there are so many different cables, and you start them on the short rows on the back. And so you start them like right away and knowing like which way to twist, and then like there's some that are 1/2 and some that are 4/4 and some that are 2/2. And so I just think this is not a first time cable knit sweater pattern. But if you've knit one and you knit two, go for it. It's an amazing pattern. I absolutely love the finished object, and I think I'm going to get some good wear out of it. I think this is one I could wear to some like Christmas events as well, because it's green bits. I could wear outside of that too. It's not like super Christmassy or anything like that. So ultimately so happy with this. I'm trying to think if I did not make any modifications except for making it a little bit longer because it is oversized. I felt like where you were supposed to stop, it was going to look like wide and short. And so I did lengthen it just a little bit. You're supposed to stop right at this. But I did just add about 1/4 of one of these diamonds there. Yeah, I think that's the only modification I made. So if you're looking for a chunky cable knit for this winter, definitely check out this pattern. I was super happy with it. It was super easy to follow once you get the cable started, I would say. Oh, wow. Finally, this was a work in progress last time, as a little strip of knits, and now it is a finished hat. So this is the Brownstone Beanie by Tori, and I got this little label from Tiffany over at Typical Bliss. She used to have a little Patreon where she would send out like little stitch markers or whatever, and this was a part of that. But she might still sell them on her shop. I'm not positive. But I love this hat pattern. I definitely think I'll be making another one of these, maybe not for me, maybe as a gift or something, but I'm really happy with it and I really like how it fits. And I also like that it used less than 100 grams of yarn. There's a lot of I think every other hat pattern that I've made for myself, I have needed to go into the 3rd ball of yarn, which is always kind of annoying. And because you don't need that much of it, but this one uses less than 2. So it was perfect. I made the adult medium. I think even the adult large, you don't need more than the 2. So that's great. But I also really like that you do it held single for the brim, and then you do it held double for the top. And so It makes it nice and warm, but not so chunky around the ears or anything. So if you're looking for a new hat pattern, also try this one. And yeah, I didn't weave in this end. So I wear this all the time, but I feel like it's really not that big of a deal to have the end in there, right? All right, that's a lot of finished objects. And like I said, I just finished the Hani cardigan this week. And so I actually only have one work in progress that I'm going to share today. And so this is a very finished object heavy episode. So hopefully that's okay. I don't know if people prefer hearing about things that are finished or things that I'm working on. So one group of you will be happy today. Awesome. So the thing that I'm working on is the Carlotta sweater by Moreca Knit. And I did these little saddles on it and then have started the back. I think I finished the short rows and then now just have to do the back. And I think this is such a pretty texture. And I'm so excited for it. It is a V-neck and I actually am 100% copying the colors in one of the samples that she made. Because I just love it so much. And so I need to get going on this again. I started it and then I just really wanted to go hard on that cardigan so I could finish it and wear it. And so I did that and kind of put this to the side. This is a textured knit with a little cute striped collar detail. And it's also knit on larger needles than you would expect. It's knit on 4.5. And I can't do combination knitting on this texture, and so I'm a little worried about when I switch to in the round it not being the same, and so I am doing a smaller needle size on my purl side, and I went down to a 3.75 because I know that going down a half size isn't enough to offset my purl gauge, and so I went down to the 3.75, and I'm hoping when I get in the round it'll be fine. So we'll see when I get to the round, I guess. I do feel like textured knits hide it a little bit more. On the Sirena, my cable knit that I made, I did not do anything because it's textured. I didn't use a smaller needle size when I was knitting flat, and I didn't do combination knitting, and I can't see a line where I go between the two, and so I do think it's a little bit different. Everything is. And so we'll see. I won't know until I get to the round, but it does look even, but the way that you do this texture, I'm not sure you would know. And so if anything, I actually think that it's going to be too big when I go to the 4.5 in the round. And at that point I could just go to a 4 or something and kind of adjust it. So I think I'll be good. And I think I'll be able to adjust it if I need to when I get in the round. But I'm a ways away from that. So, and this is Filcolana Pernilla. That's the yarn that I'm knitting it in. It's the recommended yarn. And I have knit one thing in this and I have really enjoyed it. Last time I held it with mohair though, so this will be the first time I'm knitting it held single. But so far, it's been great. So. Other than that, the only other works in progress I have are gift knits. I don't really love making gift knits, and I'm not going to be making a lot of gift knits, but I am going to be making a few. And so I think I will end up just doing a small episode of gift knits after I give them. And so I guess it's the middle of November, and so maybe I'll be doing one more podcast episode by the end of the year, but potentially I just do the gift knit episode and then everything I knit in 2025, and then in January you'll get the new podcast episode. I don't know, we'll see. But I will share what I ended up gift knitting. It'll be too late for you to gift knit them for this holiday season, but might give you ideas for next year, and also you can just see fun little gift knits maybe for birthdays or other things. So thank you so much for being here. I hope that you enjoyed hearing what I've been up to and making. Would love to hear what you're making in the comments, or if you've made any of these patterns and you enjoyed them. But with that, happy knitting.